Okay, so you really got me with this one.
This one's interesting.
You sent me these slides,
Yeah.
and the title, VBT Student Talk Spring 2022 PD.
Mm.
Like, honestly, at first glance, I was a little,
Yeah, I can see that.
like, huh, what is this VBT?
Right.
It's Van Buren Tech, it's a school,
Okay.
and PD, that's professional development for teachers.
Got it.
So it's like, okay,
Right.
we're talking about teachers, we're talking about student talk,
Yeah.
but here's where it gets really interesting, okay?
Okay.
This is like next level stuff.
All right.
This presentation,
Yeah.
it's based on this whole framework called 5 Dimensions of Teaching and Learning,
I see.
which we are going to unpack, right?
We are.
But it's basically all about making sure students are not just passively absorbing information, but like really wrestling with it,
Yeah.
engaging with it,
Yeah.
thinking, sharing, building on what they learn.
Absolutely. Active learning 2.0, right?
Yes, active learning, take 2.
Take 2.
So what does this all mean in practical terms?
Yeah. How do we apply this?
They break it down, the
Got
student talk,
Yeah.
into 4 main goals.
Okay. 4 goals. What are they?
So goal number 1, clarify and share own thoughts.
Okay.
Number 2, orient thinking to others.
And
Number 3, engage with reasoning of others.
gotcha.
And then finally, number 4, think with others.
Okay. So it's really about building up to that collaboration,
Yes,
working together.
building up to that higher level thinking.
I like it.
Yeah.
So how do we even,
Oh, we get there.
how do we get them to clarify and share their own thoughts?
Right, which so many people struggle with.
I know even adults.
It's true, yeah.
Like sometimes I'm like, what am I even trying to say right now?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So how do we get the kids to do that?
Well, they highlight 3 techniques
Sure.
in the presentation.
Okay. Let's hear it.
First one, and this is a classic,
Okay.
turn and talk.
Oh yeah. Turn and talk. Yeah. You pair students up. You give them a second to gather their thoughts, and they take turns speaking.
Sometimes just having that time to process before you have to like speak to the whole group
Right.
is huge.
It is. It makes a big difference.
I know, even for me, if someone's like, just tell me what you think. And I'm like,
Yeah. I need a minute.
just give me a minute
Yeah.
to think first.
Exactly.
Okay, so turn and talk, love it. What's next?
Okay. So the next one is revoicing.
Revoicing.
Revoicing. So this is where the teacher steps in and basically rephrases what a student just said.
Okay.
And they're making sure everyone heard it correctly.
So it's like they're kind of modeling how to like be a good listener and repeat back.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it also shows the student that their idea was valued.
That's huge.
It is.
Like you were heard.
You were heard. What you said matters.
I like it.
Yeah. So then the third one
Okay, third technique.
is see more.
Say more. Okay, so tell me more.
Basically, the teacher is encouraging the student to elaborate on their initial thought.
Okay.
So they might ask something like, can you give an example? Or
Mhm.
what makes you say that?
It's like go deeper.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Don't stay surface level.
I like it.
Go deeper.
Okay, so that's clarifying their own thoughts.
That's number 1.
What about number 2? Orienting thinking to others,
Yeah, orienting thinking to others.
which basically means be a good listener, right?
Yeah, it's like be a good listener with a PhD, right?
I was going to say, that sounds like a fancy way to say
Yeah.
pay attention.
Right. But it's really about recognizing that learning isn't a solo sport,
Okay.
right? You can gain insights from other people,
Not just the person at the front of the room.
not just the teacher. Exactly.
So how do we get them to actually listen?
It's tough, right? Because even adults,
Oh, we're the worst.
we are the worst sometimes.
So how do we get the kids to do it?
Well, one technique is called who can repeat.
Okay.
So after someone shares an idea, the teacher might ask another student to repeat what they just heard.
Okay.
So not only are you making sure they're paying attention.
Right, because someone's going to call on you.
Exactly.
They got to be ready.
But it also helps to solidify, like, the understanding for everyone.
Interesting.
Yeah,
So it's like accountability plus.
exactly.
Okay.
And then another technique, this is like a spin on turn and talk.
Okay, love a good twist.
Yeah. So instead of just discussing,
Mm-hmm.
students are specifically asked to report back on what their partner said.
So they have to listen.
They have to listen because they're going to have to say it.
They're going to have to report back. I love it.
It makes them really process what they're hearing.
And synthesize it in their own way.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've listened, we've repeated back.
Right.
Now this is where things get really juicy.
This is my favorite part.
Goal number 3,
Okay.
engage with the reasoning of others.
Yes.
Not just like,
Not just what they're saying,
yeah, what are they saying?
but why?
But why?
What's the thinking
No, okay, yeah.
behind it?
Yeah.
So how do we get them to do that?
So there are two main strategies.
Okay, wait on me.
The first one,
Mm-hmm.
asking for evidence or reasoning.
Okay, so that's like,
It's just what it sounds like.
yeah, prove it.
Give me the receipts, right?
I love that.
Show me why you think that.
Yeah.
Don't just tell me what you think.
Yeah.
Tell me why.
Back it up.
Exactly. And, this is really connected to one
What
of those
thing?
5 dimensions of teaching and learning that we talked about,
Yeah.
rigorous thinking.
Right.
This isn't just about, sharing opinions or feelings.
Right,
This
yeah.
is about thinking deeply
Yeah.
and backing up your ideas with reasons.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the first strategy for engaging with reasoning.
Right. Asking for that evidence.
Asking for evidence.
What's the second one?
Okay, hit me.
Challenge or counterexample.
Ooh, okay.
This is where things get fun.
I was going to say this is where it gets spicy.
Right.
A little debate. So the teacher might present like a counterpoint to what a student said.
Okay.
Or ask the class to come up with like alternative perspectives.
No, that's good.
Getting them comfortable with the idea that there isn't always one right answer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Which can be hard when you're a kid.
It really can be.
Because you're like,
I'm right.
I'm right. The teacher's right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Black and white.
Okay.
So yeah, getting them to see the nuance.
I see how this would be good for a history class.
Oh, totally.
Where it's like,
Different perspectives.
yeah.
Debating.
But what about something like math?
Oh, that's interesting.
Where it's like
Right, because it seems like
2 + 2 = 4?
it's straightforward.
Right.
But even in math,
Okay.
you can still use this.
Okay.
You could say,
Yeah.
is there another way to solve this problem?
Ooh.
What are the strengths and weaknesses of each method?
That's good.
Right?
Right. I like that.
So you're still getting them to think flexibly?
It's not just about memorizing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about strategy.
Okay. So we've clarified our own thoughts. We've oriented our thinking to others.
We've engaged with reasoning.
Now we are on to the final.
The grand finale.
The pièce de résistance.
Here we go.
Goal number 4.
Okay.
Thinking with others.
Yes.
Collaboration.
This is where it all comes together.
Oh, yeah.
Right? We're taking all those skills, clarifying, listening, analyzing,
Pointing it all together.
and we are weaving them together.
Greater than the sum of their parts.
Love that analogy.
Okay.
It's beautiful.
How do we do it? How do we make this happen? How do we get these little humans to work together?
All right, so the presentation gives us a few techniques
Okay.
for this think with others goal.
I'm ready.
The first one is called agree, disagree, and why.
Okay.
So after a student shares an idea,
Yeah.
the teacher asks the others if they agree or disagree.
Okay.
But here's the key.
That's the key.
You have to explain your reasoning.
So you can't just be like,
Nope.
yeah, I disagree because I just do.
No. You got to back it up.
You have to articulate why.
And this is so important because
Yeah.
it moves the conversation beyond just like,
The opinions.
yeah, my opinion versus your opinion.
Right.
It becomes a shared exploration.
I love that.
Does that make sense?
It does. It's like we're all in this together.
Exactly. We're on a learning journey together.
Love it. What's next?
Okay, the next technique is add on.
Add on. Okay.
So instead of treating each comment like it's its own little island,
Okay.
we're encouraging students to make connections
Okay.
between ideas,
I like it.
right? So building on what others have shared.
Building a bigger.
Exactly. A giant web of knowledge
Okay.
together.
Collaborative knowledge building.
I love it.
Okay. And the last technique for thinking with others.
All right. So this one is called explaining what someone else means.
Okay.
So this is all about really honing those active listening skills.
Right.
And building empathy. So the teacher might ask a student to paraphrase what someone else just said.
It's like, are we really understanding?
Yeah. Are we on the same page?
Yeah.
And it shows that you value those different perspectives.
That's huge.
It is huge.
So we've talked about all these things for teachers to do,
Yeah.
but what about the students?
What of them?
Like, what does this look like for them to be
Right.
doing student talk?
Well, that's where the Student Talk Moves checklist comes in.
The checklist.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's essentially a set of tools
Okay.
that students can use.
So they're equipped?
They're ready.
Okay, give me the rundown.
Okay, so the first tool,
Mm-hmm.
asking clarifying questions.
Okay.
So this is about encouraging students to speak up when they don't get something.
Instead of just like pretending,
Yeah.
faking it.
Yeah, exactly.
So the slides actually give some helpful sentence starters.
oh, nice training wheels.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
So they can say things like, what do you mean by?
Yeah.
Or can you say more about, give me an example.
Exactly.
Okay, what's next?
Okay, tool number 2,
Okay.
asking probing questions.
Ooh, probing deeper.
Deeper.
So it's not just clarifying, it's like
It's going beyond.
going beyond
Okay.
the surface.
So give me an example.
So instead of just saying, what does this word mean?
Right.
You could say, why do you think the author chose that word?
Ooh, that's good.
Right.
I like that.
Getting at that deeper level of analysis.
Okay, love it. What's the next tool?
Okay, so remember, add on.
Add on.
Well, students have that tool too.
Oh, they do.
They do.
Okay.
So they're encouraged to build on each other's ideas.
Okay.
They can use phrases like, I like your thinking. Have you thought about?
Oh, that's a good one.
Or, that's a good point, however, I've noticed.
Oh, I like that.
Right. It's very
collaborative.
collaborative, but in a respectful way.
Exactly.
Not just like,
Shut down.
yeah,
You're wrong.
right. Okay. And then last but not least.
This is the last tool on the list.
Okay.
Agree, disagree. Why we've talked about this one.
We have.
But now students have that power too.
Okay.
They can take a stance
Yeah.
and back it up with reasons.
Like little lawyers.
Exactly.
Yeah,
They even have sentence starters for this one.
Oh, come on. Sentence starters are the best.
They're so helpful.
Okay.
So they could say, I agree with your answer because,
Yeah.
or I respectfully disagree because.
Respectfully disagree. I love that.
Right.
Yeah.
It's all about framing those disagreements.
It's teaching them how to have like an actual,
A productive.
productive debate where it doesn't just
devolve into chaos.
Exactly. Okay, so we've given these kids a voice. We're giving them these tools.
We've empowered them.
What could go wrong?
Right. Isn't this amazing?
Yeah, this is great. But like in the real world,
Okay.
classrooms are messy.
Oh, they are.
Kids are.
Unpredictable.
Yeah, they're unpredictable.
Right. So the presentation actually talks about this.
They do.
They do.
Oh, okay, tell me more.
So it's not just about like,
Throwing them to the wolves.
right, throwing out a prompt
Yeah.
and being like, all right, go have a discussion, kids.
Figure it out.
Hope for the best.
See you on the other side.
Exactly. You have to set the stage.
Okay, so how do we do that?
So first of all, you need a safe environment,
Of course.
right? Students have to feel comfortable taking risks,
Yeah, because if they feel like they're going to be
judged
Clear-
or shut down.
or they say the wrong thing,
Exactly.
they're not going to talk.
They're going to stay silent.
Okay, so safe environment, check.
Check. But also, beyond just feeling safe,
Oh, okay.
they need to understand the why.
The why.
Why are we doing this?
Why are we talking?
Exactly.
Right, because if it feels like,
Busy work.
yeah,
Right.
they're not going to buy it.
They're not going to buy it.
Okay, so we have to make it explicitly clear, like this is how this connects to what you're learning.
Exactly. It has to have meaning.
Okay, so safe environment, clear purpose.
And then finally,
Yeah.
the presentation talks about providing clear roles,
Okay.
directions, and prompts.
So there's structure.
There's structure, but it's not like,
Overly controlling.
right, it's not scripted.
Right.
It's
yeah.
like you're providing the scaffolding
I like that. Like
Yeah.
you're building the foundation,
to support them.
but they're the ones building the house.
They're building the house.
This is great.
I know, right?
This is really making me think about all the times that I've just like
Winged it.
winged it and hoped for the best.
Hope for the best.
And you know, sometimes it worked.
Sometimes
But when it didn't work, it really didn't work.
it can be a disaster,
It was like a train wreck.
right? And then you're like, well, we're never doing that again.
And then you just go back to lecturing.
Right back to the note.
Back to the note.
Exactly. But this is different.
This is different.
This is about being intentional.
Okay, I like that word.
Intentional.
Because if we're not intentional about it,
Right.
it's not going to happen.
It's not just going to magically happen.
Okay, so we've got to be intentional about creating that safe environment.
Yes.
Choosing the right talk moves.
Right.
Asking those juicy questions.
The deep questions.
The deep question.
The questions that make them think.
Yes, and this is hard work for teachers.
It is?
Like this is
a lot.
It's a lot of mental prep
It is.
before you even step foot in the classroom.
Absolutely.
But I feel like this presentation is really saying like, it's worth it.
It's so worth it.
Because when you get this right,
Magic happens.
the learning,
The students come alive.
they come alive.
Yeah, and I would argue that, like,
Yeah.
they're not just learning about whatever the subject is. They're
Mhm.
learning about,
Life.
like,
How to be a human.
how to interact with other humans.
How to have a conversation. How to disagree respectfully.
That's
like these are
important skill
important life skills.
for everyone,
Yeah.
not just students.
So we've talked about the what and the how of student talk.
Right.
The why,
So, like,
tools, the techniques.
we've covered a lot of ground.
We have covered a lot of ground,
Good.
but this is the deep dive.
Exactly.
We need to go deeper.
Let's do it.
It's like We spend all this time teaching kids the alphabet and numbers,
Right, the building blocks.
but we don't teach them how to have a real conversation.
And I think that's so important.
Like how to really talk to each other.
It's more than just please and thank you.
Right. It's about how to share your ideas.
And how to listen to ideas that are different from your own.
And how to disagree respectfully.
Which is a skill we could all use more of.
Seriously, the world needs more good communicators.
I completely agree.
So if someone's listening to all of this and they're like, okay,
Yeah.
that's great.
Where do I even start?
Where do I even begin?
Yeah. What's the one thing you should take away from all of this?
What's the big takeaway?
The big takeaway is that student talk.
Okay.
It's not just some fluffy add-on.
It's not just a free period.
Right. It's not just to fill the time.
Let them get their wiggles out.
It's not about that.
Okay.
When it's done well,
When it's done right.
it is powerful.
Powerful for learning.
Absolutely.
Because the students are doing the work.
They are engaged.
They're not just sitting there with their...
Right. They're not just taking notes.
Yeah, they're part of the process.
They are creating the knowledge.
Yes, and that's what makes it stick.
Exactly. It sticks with them.
This has been amazing.
It has.
This is really making me rethink
Yeah.
how I approach conversations in general.
It makes you think about how we talk to each other.
It really does. Even just like with my friends and family.
Right. Are we really listening?
Am I really listening?
Or are we just waiting for our turn to talk?
Oh, that's good.
We've all been there.
We have.
But it starts with awareness, right?
Okay, so be aware.
Be aware of how you're communicating.
Intentionality.
Intentionality, that's the word.
We're bringing it back.
Full circle.
I love it.
So to our listeners out there,
Yes, listeners.
keep this conversation going.
Don't just let it end here.
Think about those VBT student talk slides.
Yeah, what resonated with you?
What are you going to try?
In your classroom? Or maybe
Your workplace,
your next meeting?
your next family dinner.
Take these ideas.
Make them your own.
Because the real deep dive,
It starts now.
it starts with you.
Until next time.
Keep those conversations going.
And keep diving deep.